the maintenance on JetBlue planes has been outsourced to Canada and El Salvador. JetBlue is not alone. 10 years ago, most major carriers maintained their own aircraft using their own employees. Not anymore. The airline industry now outsources over 50% of their maintenance, and that number is growing. Southwest is outsourcing 64% of their maintenance. Continental is outsourcing 65%. America West, 72% outsourced. And Alaska Air is outsourced to the tune of 80%. Starting this year, United Airlines is going to be sending their 777s to China for maintenance. The airline industry doesn't see a reason for concern. According to the Air Transport Association, the industry trade group, outsourcing air repair does not affect safety. For many air maintenance veterans, outsourcing presents three big areas of concern: experience, oversight, and security.
Just about every country out there has repair facilities that are taking on work from the United States.
David Suplee has been working on airplanes for 25 years and spent most of his career at U.S. Air, where the average experience for mechanics is 20 years. He says outsourcing has resulted in devastating job losses for U.S. workers.
Just the Northwest numbers alone, prior to 9/11, they were just under 10,000 mechanics working at Northwest. Now the company is doing it with less than 1,000 people.
Suplee, like most mechanics employed by the airlines, is FAA certified. It takes a 2-year process that requires nearly 3,000 hours of intensive training. But these skilled mechanics, with years of experience and loyalty to their company, are quickly being discarded by the industry.
Every day that I work the aircraft, I know I have coworkers, I have friends, family that fly my aircraft. So I go out to do my job every day, knowing that it could be their family, friends, or coworkers that are on the aircraft if they make a mistake.
It isn't like your car, if it breaks down, you pull over the side of the road.
For 8 years, John Golia was a member of the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, the federal agency that investigates accidents. At one time, he was an airline mechanic himself.
So there's a logbook to control what's going on, and task documents to control missed items to make sure the work is done. And that was not the case in some of the accidents that we've seen. The federal air regulations state that the person performing the task needs to be trained, needs to understand it. I scratch my head sometimes thinking about where this work is being done and whether or not that is really being complied with.
This is an FAA-certified air repair station in Costa Rica, one of several operating in Central America. Lower labor costs on heavy maintenance, like this major teardown of an aircraft, can save millions of dollars a year. While an air mechanic in the U.S. can make around $38 an hour, at the Taca Araman facility in El Salvador, where JetBlue and America West planes are maintained, workers earn between $300 and $1,000 a month. Cost savings like this could be good for the airlines and consumers. The problem is there's not just a difference in pay, there's a difference in training. At overseas repair stations, FAA certification training for mechanics is optional. Only a few certified supervisors and mechanics need to sign off on the work.
Los manuales están en inglés todos, sí. Todos en inglés. Todo lo que viene de la Boeing y la Douglas, sí, todo viene en inglés.
All our manuals are given to us in English. If they're in a foreign language, I don't know how I could correctly do my job, other than following pictures.
Not that they're not trying, and not that their people aren't good people, but they don't have English as their first language, and to be able to read and comprehend what's in the maintenance manual is difficult.
I think airline safety in the United States is overseen by the federal government.
Probably the Department of I don't know, I'm at a loss.
I think that the FDA oversees the airlines.
The U.S. government, through the Federal Aviation Administration, is responsible for oversight. But for air safety, ultimately the buck stops with the airlines themselves. And the pressure from bankruptcies, rising fuel costs, and our demand for cheap tickets has led to drastic cost-cutting on maintenance. Another post-9/11 concern about outsourced air repair is security.
Within the United States, anybody that works on the aircraft must go through a 10-year background check. The aircraft must be kept in a secure location. Even the parts have to be in a secure location. Nobody could come in and tamper with the parts. If we're all going to play this game, then we all should play with the same rules.
JetBlue says they feel confident about the Taka Aeromon maintenance base in El Salvador. And the FAA administrator maintains the facility is adequately inspected. But how can the FAA inspect all these foreign facilities? The FAA is responsible for monitoring 5,000 maintenance facilities in the U.S. and offshore, while losing an estimated 300 inspectors this year to budget cuts and retirement. According to the Inspector General of the Department of Transportation, there is a problem. A series of reports between June 2003 and December 2005 found that the FAA is inadequately overseeing outsourced airline maintenance. The most recent report shows that the airlines are sending more and more critical work to a different class of repair stations where maintenance is not monitored by the FAA. At one such facility, outsourced airline maintenance led to a fatal accident. Immediately after takeoff from Charlotte, North Carolina, a U.S. Air Midwest commuter plane plummeted into the ground. All 21 people on board were killed. Then NTSB member John Golia was at the scene.
It's gruesome. It's gruesome. The airplane crashed and burned, and there's nothing that's more disturbing than to see the scene like that.
Faulty maintenance was the cause of this accident, according to the NTSB. Air Midwest had double outsourced the maintenance on this aircraft, first to a subcontractor in West Virginia, then to another firm that hired temporary mechanics to do the work.
And they made a mistake. And the mistake got out the door, and 8 flights later, when they needed full travel on the on the elevators, it wasn't there, and it led to the accident.
I just play the odds, but I'm a frequent flyer, and I just do the best I can with it, and try not to think about it.
Do you want to know where your plane has been worked on? The airlines don't have to tell you, but log on to linktv.org and you'll see how to send a message to your air carrier and the FAA about air safety and outsourcing.